we are going to look at how to measure to locate where we want to put our brackets to receive our rods and subsequently our curtains or draperies, right? Now, if you have a window that is far down from your crown molding, one of the things you want to make sure you do is measure from your casing. Measure 8 to 10 inches above your casing to locate where to put your bracket. However, if you do not have a great expanse here, what you can do is measure 1 to 2 inches from the crown molding to determine where your rod will go. Now, the 1 to 2 inches will ensure that you don't have like a big gap of wall in between your crown molding and your curtains. Another thing I want to say to you is, if you have a big expanse of wall between your casing, your window casing, and your crown molding, then make sure you always measure from your casing. Because if you measure from your crown molding 1 to 2 inches and you put your rod, what you'll have is a big expanse of blank wall staring at you. And I never like seeing that. I don't think it looks good. If you plan to put layer treatment, then you could put a Roman blind, Roman shade under, and then you could let it fall just above the casing of the window, and then you won't see that blank wall. However, that's more fabric, that's more time, that's more money, even if you're doing it yourself, right? Worse if you're taking it to the workroom, right? And so I would suggest to you that if you have that expanse, just measure from above your casing 8 to 10 inches, right? Now, for the sides, how far off the casing should you put your bracket to house your rod? I would suggest that a sweet spot is between 4 to 6 inches. And the reason I say that is because that will ensure that you don't have light seepage at the edge of the curtain. It will also ensure that you will have enough space for stack back. Remember, check that video out if you don't know what stack back is. I spoke about 10 different terms that is useful for you to know when you are trying to DIY or even get in a workroom to do your curtains or your draperies, right? And so that will ensure that you have enough space for stack back, and your window will be able to get off your curtains will be able to get off your window, so you can let in more light, right, as necessary. Now, there's nothing that says you can't go above that 6 inches. You can go 8, 10, 12, right? However, as I said before, it's more fabric, it's more work, it's more money. If you're DIYing it yourself, it's more for you to deal with. And if you're going to the workroom, yeah, you got to pump that budget up, right? So let's keep it 4 to 6 inches away from the casing of the window. Here, we're going to go ahead and say, okay, we want it to be 4 inches off the casing on both sides. Now, another thing is, depending on your situation, there might be some architectural elements in the space that will affect where you place your curtain rods. And so, yes, you have to evaluate that. So what we're doing here is general, give you an idea, set you on the path, but then you have to evaluate your situation, just like you have to evaluate, okay, what type of wall structure do I have to buy the correct screws and or anchors. It's the same thing with your window placement, right? With your curtain placement. It's the same thing with your rod placement, right? You have to evaluate your space and then figure out where to put your rod. right? So 4 inches off, and we're gonna go with this expanse kind of look a bit big here, so I don't think I want to come from the crown. What I want to do is go from the casing. So let's go 6 inches above the casing. Now that we have decided, and remember, we are using our rigid metal tape to do all our measurements, just so that we don't end up in any issues. You could also use a square to make sure that when you're measuring, you're getting things as square as possible. And so, yeah, what we will do here then is measure 6 inches up. I didn't have chalk on the checklist, but maybe just to ensure that you get it right, you could use a piece of pale, maybe white chalk. You don't have to press on it too hard. You could even use tailor's chalk, because this is trying to make it as easy and as simple as possible for you to be able to DIY, right? And so what I would do is measure 6 inches this side, 6 inches this side, and then I would go ahead and draw a line. My line is so wonky and my marker is finishing. Okay, but I would draw a line all the way across with my chalk. And then the next thing I'll do is measure my 4 inches here. Measure my 4 inches here. Then I would go ahead and this can make it easier for you, right? So let's forget about measuring the 4 inches on the sides here. Easy does it, right? Easy does it. If you can make something simple for yourself, don't make it complicated. And so what I would suggest that you do is go ahead and use your square, draw a line from the top of the casing here all the way up to this line. Do the same thing over here. And then measure 4 inches from where the lines intersect here, and then you will know where to put your brackets. Isn't that simple? Yeah, that is way simpler than what I was gonna do there. So yeah, we measure 6 inches up, 6 inches up, draw a line across, then take your line from your casing using a square all the way up to intersect with this line, and then where it intersects, measure 4 inches out, right? 4 inches out, and that is where you put your bracket. Now that you have marked where you are going to put your bracket, what you're going to do next is put the bracket on and make sure that your mark is at the top of your bracket. Then you're going to get your pencil, and I say a pencil because a pencil has a sharp point that can go through the holes. So you're going to get your pencil and you're going to make your marks, and the marks that you make, that is where you are going to use your drill to drill holes. Now remember, you need to have the appropriate drill bit for the appropriate size anchor. Now after you have drilled your holes, and you get your mallet or your hammer and gently tap your anchor into the holes. Then you get your bracket and you put your bracket back over the anchors, and then you go ahead and you can use the drill or you can use a screwdriver and screw into the anchor to hold your brackets in place. You do the same thing over here. Now, depending on the expanse, if you want to put another bracket at the center, then you just have to measure across to see what the measurement is, divide it by 2, and you find where to put your center bracket. You put the bracket on just like so, make your marks, drill your holes, put the anchor in, put the bracket back on, and go ahead and screw the thing into, go ahead and screw into the anchor. And of course, when you're done putting your brackets on, you're going to go ahead and put your curtain rod on, and it's ready to receive your curtains. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let me know if this is useful to you. Let me know if there's anything that I can share with you that can help you to easily DIY projects around your home. Please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. I hope to see you for the next lesson.